Good evening, folks. So, um, just a few thoughts, okay, about Caitlin Clark and the 2026 season. Okay. So, I want you to think back in time here, okay, where Caitlin Clark comes out of college after playing in the tournament, the NCAA, and she's drafted by the Indiana Fever and literally has, you know, no time off, okay, before uh, becoming a pro. Okay. And she's in a new city, uh, you know, away from her family, away from, the only place she's ever known as home, which is Carver Hawkeye Arena. Okay. And she's getting adjusted to a new team, adjusted to a new living arrangement, and she's got no time to rest. Okay. She goes right into camp, meeting all new players, trying to build that chemistry. And, you know, the opening part of the season is rough. Okay. It's rough. It's rough for the Fever in general. Okay. Um, and we get to, the break, which would technically be the All-Star break, but in this case, it becomes the Olympic break. Okay. And what happens? Caitlin Clark gets a snub and is kept off the Olympic team, which, honestly is probably the most egregious thing I've ever seen in my life. The notion that she wasn't good enough to be on the Olympic team is absurd. Okay, what happened in my mind is uh, they gave it to Diana Taurasi because she was in her retirement year, and um, they wanted her to win yet another ring. Okay, and quite frankly, that's not how you pick people for the Olympic team. Okay. It's not supposed to be a farewell tour for people who can't let go. Okay. So that's really what it boiled down to. And Caitlin Clark deserved to be on that Olympic team. And I thought it was egregious to begin with. But then after I read Christine Brennan's book, it pissed me off even all the more. Okay. And so what happened was Caitlin Clark had a chance to rest. Okay, that was number one. But number two, while she was resting and thinking about how she got left off the team, I'm sure that that whole thing lit a fire in her belly. Okay. And, you know, she handled the whole thing like you would expect Caitlin Clark to handle it, with a lot of class and a lot of dignity, and basically just said it gives her something to work towards. Okay. Well, so what happens in the second half of the season? Caitlin Clark literally blows the doors off the WNBA. She blows the doors off the WNBA and breaks 62 rookie records. Okay. She, racks up the 3-point record, racks up the assist record. Um, she literally takes a team that hadn't made the playoffs in 9 years and dragged them into the playoffs. Now, they didn't go much further than the first round, but that doesn't matter, okay? The fact of the matter is that Caitlin Clark took her team and made them all better. If you watch the second half of the season and watch them all playing together with Katie Lou Samuelson and Temi and Kelsey, if you watch those people play, they were all on the same page. They had all figured out Caitlin Clark by then. They knew just exactly what she could do to get the ball to them, and they literally feasted off her. Okay. And in the meantime, she was doing plenty of her own scoring. Okay. And she literally came out of that Olympic break on fire. There's absolutely no question in my mind that that was part of the impetus for her play in the second half of her rookie season. No question about it. So I'm thinking that Here we are. We come into the second year. She comes in at mid-season form. Okay. She comes in the first 5 games. She's got a triple double and 2 double doubles. And then the injuries start. Okay. And she only gets to play in 13 games. So, and it was frustrating. Okay. It was frustrating for her because she'd take a couple weeks off, come back, play 5 games, then she'd re-injure herself, and then she'd have to take another couple of weeks off. And it got to the point where there were 5 of those injuries. And at the very end, it was like, okay, you just got to stay out because she wasn't allowing herself to heal. And I believe that was because Caitlin Clark really just loves to play basketball, number one. Number two, she felt, you know, uh, 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 some kind of a need to be on the court with her team and to be on the court to please her fans. That's what it's all about, folks, for Caitlin Clark, okay? A responsibility to the fans who have followed her loyally, to her teammates, okay, when she had planned on literally gelling with this team and being deep into the playoffs. Now, there is no question in my mind that had Caitlin Clark been healthy, the Indiana Fever could have contended this year, okay? No question. Okay, barring the myriad of injuries, but even if those injuries has happened and Caitlin Clark wasn't on the injury list, that team could still have gotten maybe into the finals. Okay, it made it to the semifinals, and I give all of those players all of the credit. Kelsey Mitchell stepped up and did what Kelsey Mitchell does, and she was masterful. And I give Stephanie White credit for keeping that team together, okay? As much as it pisses some people off. I'm sorry, folks, but this is the way it is. So, Caitlin Clark also handled her injury in the same way she handled her Olympic snub, okay? I'm sure it was tough for her to sit on the sidelines every single night and not be able to go out on the court. We watched her on the sidelines, okay? We watched her cheer her teammates on. We watched her keep Stephanie White from getting fined a lot, okay? We watched her, as the injuries mounted, we watched the Wounded Warriors, okay? The Indiana Infirmary on the sidelines, all there doing their thing together, okay? Together in misery, all right? So by then it was Sophie Cunningham. It was Sydney Colson. It was Ari McDonald. It was Bibby. They were all injured, okay? And they had a bunch of players that they cobbled together on the hardship list, okay? And these people worked their butts off to get into the semifinals, and no one ever thought they were going to get there. So this is where we are with Caitlin Clark now, okay? She had a frustrating season. There is no question about it. And I'm sure this will light the same kind of fire under her that the Olympic snub did. And I believe that she will come out in 2026 on fire. I think, scary as it may be, we may see a next level Caitlin Clark because she's certainly not done evolving as a professional basketball player, okay? She's a brilliant basketball player. She proved that whatever she was doing in Iowa could translate to the WNBA, but she's not done yet. Okay. No player ever is never finished evolving as a player. Okay. That's not the way great players think. They never think they can't get better. And I believe Caitlin Clark can get so much better. If that's possible, we are in for a treat. Okay. Starting next year. So I believe Caitlin Clark will be ready in May of 2026. In fact, somebody posted a video of Ari McDonald working out, and in the background, way far away in the same gym, someone pointed out that was Caitlin Clark working out. So she's already on it, folks. She said during her exit interview she was only going to take a week off. And I'm sure, now that we know she's playing 2-on-2 and 3-on-3, we're not far away from 5-on-5. And again, as I've said before, I believe she'll be playing with Team USA in March, okay? And I'm sure they're going to find 5-on-5 for her before March so that she's ready for that. And I'm sure she'll be working out with Team USA. So, be that as it may, someone mentioned to me that they wished they could find video from the Brazil preseason game at Carver Hawkeye Arena. And you know that at that time, Caitlin Clark was having quad problems. And it shows her in the runway area of the arena on a stationary bike in between the time that she's on the court. But there was absolutely no way in hell that Caitlin Clark was going to miss a return trip to Carver Hawkeye Arena and go there with her team for an exhibition game and not take the floor. And she did take the floor in fine style. So I actually have a video that was put out by the Indiana Fever, which I'm sorry, folks, they always have the best videos. So let's take a look at some of this video. Let's start right here, in fact.
For Brazil, here's Clark. Wow! You bet! From beyond the logo!
That's
and a
point
point afterwards! I mean, come on.
Even Rebecca Lobo can't believe it.
Catch up with Angel Reese this week, and she talked about their 4-out, 1-in type of play, with Camila Cardoso being that 1-in, having more space to open up the floor. She said she's really working on her face-up game.
Leading scorer today with 17. Wow. Jaylen Brown has had some big moments in this second half for Indiana. And now coming up with a steal. Here's Brown on the breakaway. Couldn't lay it in, but Aileen can.
So, you know what, gang? I just know, and there's actually a lot more of that video, and the entire thing will be in the description of this video for you guys to watch. But I watched about 5 or 6 different reels of highlights from that Brazil game, and the Indiana Fever videos are always the best. So I will make sure that I put that in. But tomorrow is Shrine Day. Remember, I promised you I would, put together the video of my shrine here, which, by the way, has grown since I promised it, a couple days ago, because I got a couple of more things in. So it's not going to just be, obviously, the area around here. You can see in the background, back there, there's the book. See the book over there? Yeah. It's kind of, there's some stuff that are in different places, but most of it is concentrated here in front of me. It's my inspiration. And I will share this with you tomorrow, okay? And hopefully it won't be late at night, because I am dog tired tonight. But you guys have a great night. I also have a bunch of video coming up in the next few days of Caitlin Clark in various states of dominance. And we will talk again tomorrow. I'm going to try to see where we are with the CBA and take a look around at what else is going on in the WNBA. And it's kind of hard because right now we can't talk too much about free agency, because they can't do a thing about making any moves until January. So the first priority here is the CBA. And I'll try to figure out where the hell we're at with that over the next 24 hours. You guys have a great night, and I will see you tomorrow.